Hey, I'm Max and welcome to another devlog. In the last one, I added a city and a few spells like fireballs to the game. In this one, I will implement the talent system so the players can choose which spells to power up and how to build their own characters. First, I had to make a main menu with a panel so that every talent shows and the player can see their information like their levels and descriptions, and then the player can upgrade them using their points. I separated the talents into two categories, passive and active. Passive talents are always in effect and they don't require the player to trigger them, such as increasing the run speed of the player or reducing the energy cost of, let's say, the fireball. Active talents need to be selected in-game and used using a click or a keybind, and they will cost energy to do that. So they are spells such as shooting fireballs or with the gun finger. When you finish a level or get defeated in wave mode, you receive experience based on the amount of enemies you defeated. That XP can make you level up, giving you a talent point, which you can then spend into any passive or active talent. The first point you put into one will activate it, and then the more points you put into it, the bigger their effect will be. So for actives, they will do more damage or last longer. And for example, passives, if it reduces energy cost, then the more points you put into it, the more the energy cost is reduced. Then I added stats for the player that change the damage they deal and receive, as well as how fast their energy recharges. I made it so when you level up, you also get one stat point, which you can then put into one of the stats. This way you can also choose a more offensive, defensive, or technical playstyle. Next, I didn't want the player to be able to spam spells as fast as he wanted, so I added a cooldown system. The basic spells like gun and fireball have a very small cooldown, but some spells may have larger cooldowns such as the laser if they are more powerful. I could also add passive talents that reduce the cooldown. Now that all these systems were ready, all I had to do was to add a bunch of talents and active spells for the players to use. So over the next few days, I added a few powers I thought were interesting. However, my spell wheel only contains 6 spells, so when I unlocked all of the spells, there were a few that I didn't have access to. So I had to add a feature where you can select the 6 spells you want to use in the list of all the ones you have unlocked, and these 6 ones will show up in your wheel. I also started to get annoyed at the fact that I used the same 2 textures for all of the spells, so I made new textures for them. They're not amazing, but they're better. I also realized that some spells like flying or slowing down time don't really do much alone. You would ideally pair them with another one, but you can't. So I changed it so now you can use 2 spells at once. Each of them are triggered using left click or right click. You can either use 2 offensives like shoot and fireball, or a support like fly and an offensive one like fireballs. I think the powers and talent system are pretty cool and make the player feel powerful. But I still haven't decided what I want to do with the enemies and gameplay. The wave system is pretty boring, and with all the movement that the player has, the enemies can't reach him if he runs and hides. So I think a level system would be better where you have to reach the end so you're forced into a small path. I guess I'll think about a solution while working on other things. At least now the player can level up, spend stat points, spend talent points in active or passive talents, select the active spells to use and use up to 2 at once. I also think I added some pretty cool talents like meteorite, fly, also one that makes rocks come out of the ground, and one that creates a big shockwave on the ground. But there is still definitely a lot of work to do for this to be a pretty good game. Thanks for watching, hopefully you enjoyed.